Hi there, Gemini. I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your April 2026 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Gemini air signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. But what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Gemini signs. So it may show up in different areas of your life in slightly different ways, but the theme is still the same. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoyed this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Gemini, let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Gemini, before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see, what the universe shows me. I feel like you're at the beginning of some kind of new chapter, and you're being asked to, in a sense, just be in the moment. Because I do feel like for some of you, there's a little bit of worry around, what is coming next? What are my next steps forwards? What's my path in life? Wanting to kind of know, what direction you're going in. And there's some kind of moment of you discovering yourself, rediscovering yourself after what I feel has been quite a challenging time in your life. I see somebody in your past that it feels like a romantic connection to me, somebody that was maybe a little bit difficult to move on from, even though, it feels like there were many things that, weren't right about the relationship. It may even have been a little bit toxic for some of you. And moving forwards was always about loving yourself, choosing yourself, and really knowing your worth and value, and not staying in something that wasn't healthy. It wasn't giving you what you really wanted and deserved. And I do feel like you have moved on. Like for some of you, you may have moved on from somebody. You may have felt like you had to walk away, because ultimately when we settle for less and we stay in something that, isn't really making us happy, then, that's the cost in the end, is our own happiness and our emotional contentment. And those were the lessons, and that's what's behind you. And I feel like you have, stepped into those soul lessons, and it's been a challenge, I feel. And I feel like it took a lot of courage to actually kind of move on, because you saw the potential in this person. As we always do, we see the potential, and we have this idea of who we think they're going to be, how the story's going to end. And it's hard to move on from that. When it doesn't work out that way, it's hard to let go of that. So in your overall energies, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is really these energies that I'm talking about right now in regards to you discovering more of yourself, investing in yourself right now. This is a card of independence, and it's earth energy. It's related to career and finances. And, these are the energies around, investing in yourself in order to create what you really want, in the long term for your life. And, and creating something that gives you that emotional independence and freedom to really live the life that you want to live. So it may be that whatever lies in your past, whatever broke down, it's created space for you to really invest in yourself, for you to perhaps have a little bit more of a look at, you know, what are you doing with your life moving forwards? For some of you, you know, you may be working towards a life goal. This may have connected you with your purpose. Because I do see, you know, a vision, and I do see things being put in place for some of you with a view to, you know, investing in something for the long term here. You're also investing in yourself at the same time. What lies in your recent past, the Eight of Wands. Your current energies, the Six of Swords. So Eight of Wands is a very fast-moving energy, and it's often about a swift action. It's something that, you know, has a lot of momentum around it. And it's a very unhindered energy. There aren't any obstacles. You know, when you look at the image here, this is energy that's moving. And it's very often a call to, you know, make a swift choice or decision, to make some kind of step forwards here. And with the Six of Swords there, that's a card of transition. And this is where you are right now. You're in some kind of process of a transition. You're transitioning away from a situation, a person, let's say, that, you know, was challenging, was difficult in many ways. And you're moving towards calmer shores. You're moving towards a place of healing. The swords in the boats, they actually represent the wisdom that we take with us, that we have learnt, you know, from our past experiences. Because I do feel this energy of, you know, being in this space now where, you know, there aren't going to be any repeats of the past. You know, you're not going to put your needs to one side again. You're absolutely moving forwards, you know, knowing your worth and your value. It was a big soul lesson, I feel, you know, whoever this person was that you were connected to. And sometimes, even though it can be challenging and disappointing, you know, when things don't turn out the way that we thought they would, you know, sometimes the greatest lessons come from these situations. Sometimes that person was part of a lesson. They weren't actually meant to stay for the long term. But, you know, you're in some kind of transition. This is also an energy of overcoming challenges, obstacles, difficulties, and, you know, moving towards calmer shores. Your feelings towards your situation, the Page of Pentacles. For some of you, this may actually be, you know, also involving a location change. You know, because the Page of Pentacles is often the energy of somebody actually showing up somewhere physically, stepping up in some way, but it's also a card of growth and being open to learning and growing and evolving. So some of you may be, you know, looking at perhaps learning a new skill here. You know, this is the energy of investing and being open to learning with a view to a long term. So we have that Nine of Pentacles as well, you know, vision for the future. What lies in the challenge here is the Ten of Pentacles. Your hidden influence, we have the Seven of Wands. Now the Ten of Pentacles in the challenge, I feel relates to your past, and there's two people in the image here, and this is a card that really represents, you know, building for the long term. You know, each person equally investing in the connection, you know, for something that, you know, really will stand the test of time, something for the long term, that security, that stability. And I do feel like there's a little part of your energy that still kind of looks back on the past here. And there is a sense of a part of you missing this person, but what I feel more that it really is here, it's more this energy of missing who you thought they were going to be, the person you thought they were going to be in your life, because I do feel like you had them down, you know, for the long term as your life partner. And the challenge sometimes is, you know, letting go of that. But it's important to remember that, you know, make sure you see the whole picture, because, you know, when I look at the energies of this person, I just feel that they weren't really ready. They weren't ready to, you know, they didn't have what it takes to really invest in a relationship and what that requires. And you may have felt very unseen, unheard, unloved in that connection. You know, it feels like someone who was very held back. It's almost like they knew what you wanted, they knew what was required, but they just weren't really ready for that. And it feels that they kind of had things a little bit on their terms, on their time, on their terms. It was more about them than it was you. And you hung in there because you saw that potential there with the 10 of coins. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge that is, you know, perhaps still holding you back a little bit. But the universe is, you know, opening up a new path for you. And even though it's still maybe a little bit of a challenge, you know, you're in this transition, you're not quite sure where it's leading, but you're in this transition. You're just not quite to the other side just yet. But, you know, it feels very much to me that you're just meant to be in the moment, and you're meant to be following your heart. The hidden influence is the 7 of Wands, which can be a very guarded energy, but it's also an energy of standing in your truth, you know, especially when there are challenges around you, or an energy of, let's say, adversity. That's about you standing in your truth, regardless of, you know, what is going on around you, what has gone down in the past, you know, staying true to you, what you want, what you deserve. And absolutely not settling for less here. Your advice from the universe, the Knight of Swords. This is often an energy of rushing in. So there might be a little bit of a caution here, you know, that there's no rush. Take your time. You don't need to know, you know, where you're going just yet. Right now, it just feels to me you're in this moment of a whole new chapter opening up. There's still a little bit of letting go of the past that needs to happen. And it is about trusting, you know, what has unfolded, because it has created a lot of space. And what I'm feeling for you right now is, you know, very strongly these energies of you investing in you and what you really want for your life and for your future. And I do feel that a lot of things are going to unfold for you. A lot of opportunities are going to unfold. And, you know, really be in the energy of, you know, knowing what you have to share and what you have to give. Because for some of you, this new path, you know, you may be studying, you may be learning something new, but this new path, I feel, is going to lead you into some kind of life purpose here. You know, this feels a little bit like, you know, a divine intervention moment where it's almost like the universe has come in and shifted things around and, you know, moved people, places, situations to set you on a different path, because you are meant for something more, whether that's in career or love. You know, there's something better out there for you. And I do feel you'll look back on this connection in the past and you'll understand, you know, why that came to a close, why you had to walk away, or maybe it was them that walked away. Either way, I do feel that as time passes, you know, as you take steps forward, the road will become clear. It's like at nighttime, you know, when you're driving a car, you only see so far ahead, you know, but as you go along, you know, the road becomes clearer, and you're being asked to just follow your heart at the moment, be in the moment and discover yourself and look at, you know, what inspires you moving forwards, because, you know, this is some kind of, definitely some kind of divine intervention here that's creating an opening for you to experience life in a different way, for you to reach your full potential and invest in yourself. Because when you do that for yourself, other people mirror that back to you, whether that's in love or career or, you know, another connection. Other people are always our mirrors. And that's why I feel like whatever broke down in the past was, you know, part of an old pattern and a lesson. And I do feel you've learned it, but it is really about, you know, keeping on, just taking these steps forwards, even if you don't quite know where you're going yet. You are in a transition here. In your outcome, we have the Queen of Swords. Again, this is about standing in your truth and not being afraid to express that. And that's not always verbally. That might be through, you know, a certain career, you know, very much these energies of connecting to life purpose here. And the Queen of Swords is an energy that, you know, expresses who she truly is, and she's not afraid, even if, you know, that makes other people uncomfortable or it shakes the room up. She's an energy that, you know, really stands in her truth. And, you know, with your advice there, the Seven of Wands, that is what the universe is asking you to do. Don't be afraid to be who you truly are and express that in the world and to others. So you're on the right path, and, you know, the road will become clear. You will reach those calmer shores. But it's just perhaps a little bit more letting go of the past, freeing up your energies, and just know that, you know, this new path is, you know, leading you into a better place and towards what you really want, you know, whether that is in career or connecting with a soulmate. It's leading you to what you really want. So I'm going to leave that there, Gemini. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.